How you like that? We went from that real calm to like Joel Felsenstein's, trailer that he did for us a couple of years ago. So you're all nice and calm, and you're just like, breathe in, breathe in. It's what I'm doing. I'm meditating. I'm just getting for a second. Then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, here we go. That's how it is. We're gonna roll right on in. Joel Felsenstein, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. People comment all the time on how much they love that intro, and I appreciate you creating that for us. You are one talented young man, and I love you to death. Let's talk about our sponsors real quick. Thank you, Maya Ono. If you don't know who Maya Ono is, they are kind of an unsung hero. They are selling millions of dollars worth of great equipment, and they help people out like us. So they've donated these amazing boxes and podcast gear and our mics, and we've got some stuff on the way that we're going to be able to use when we're out in the wilds doing stuff. So thank you, Mayono. It means vision in Swahili. So we appreciate you guys. My buddies over at HR Consultations, that's my fractional group that I created in 2012. And we are three people that work with social good entities, so B Corps, nonprofits, foundations, and we do fractional HR work. So if you need that help, then reach out to us. Also, our buddies from our merch page, Nick uses them, I use them. They are absolutely fantastic. Look at that. Oh, he's got stuff on hand. I should have, it's too cold down here in my basement. Otherwise, I would have had my t-shirt on. But they do all of our merch for Nick and for myself and many others. They are fantastic. Tisha and Ginger. So reach out to them. And last but certainly not least, in the house, right here on stage, as a matter of fact, guiding brilliant writers, Nick and Jai Galindo in the house. She's also known as the gifted bipolar writer. Thank you, Nick, for being here. Appreciate you so much. You have been a big fan of our work since 2023. I got to meet her and her husband, Marcos, in public in March, and then we broke bread together. These guys are just phenomenal. So I'm going to let you take it away. Thank you, Nick, for being here. Thank you to our other guests. I'll let you introduce them.
Thank you so much for having us on. It's a joy to be here, and I see everyone tuning in the comments as well. And I would be remiss if I did not send all my love out to Jody. Hi, Jody. Oh my goodness. I'm excited to see you again, and hopefully we can get together before the end of the year. Wait, that's right around the corner. So yes, I'm Nick, the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. I left my job earlier this year and decided I was going to chase down my passion, and now here I am 10 months later. Incidentally, Joel Felsenstein is also one of the co-authors in the book we're going to be speaking about today. And I have the two awesome women with me, Candice and Leslie. Thank you so much for, being able to be here tonight. I know that Candice is, all over the place right now. And Leslie, well, I only bother Leslie every other day. Her phone's going off, and it's me calling and bugging her. So thank you so much both for being here. I would actually, Jason, if it's okay with you, allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves for a couple of minutes, this way that they can go ahead and I'm sure they're going to get it a little bit better than myself. I'm here to share the stories.
Sure.
Candice?
All right. Oh. Leslie, you go ahead. All right. Did she just say Candice? All right. Leslie, go ahead.
Which was funny because I was going to say Leslie. So, well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm Candice Vander Tholen. I am a lot of things by label, but military spouse, entrepreneur. I'm a holistic practitioner who really focuses on root cause healing, helping people feel safe in this embodiment once again to really work through those experiences. And again, I'm just really excited to be partnered with different nonprofit organizations like Chasen's, and just being able to create change in the world one person at a time.
Leslie, awesome. Go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm Leslie Flowers, and I teach a couple times a week on LinkedIn all about mind and the distinction between mind and brain, and all about thinking. And I'm a licensed business consultant and a coach. And on Fridays, I teach the principles of success from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And when I have extra time, I spend time with my grandchildren, and it's holiday time now. And I help Nick with her publishing company when she needs help. So thank you.
Yeah, love that. Love all that you guys are doing. All four of you ladies are, well, all four of you ladies, all three of you ladies. There's four squares. You can see how my brain's working. The three ladies on the screen here are just brilliant. So I'm glad that everybody's here. Thank you so much to all the people in the audience. I know there are people I can't see in YouTube land for some reason on Restream. Not everybody shows up. It's not even if you're on your phone on LinkedIn. I may not be able to see your comment or show it. So please bear with us. I always go after the show and I'll fill in on comments and comment back to you. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. I know the ladies here appreciate it as well. So a lot of great people in the audience, too many to call out, but I will say I really appreciate it. So thank you for being here. Leslie, she's I don't even know how she's doing that. I don't even see her hands moving, but she's talented. She's like sitting there. I can't even see it. But we are here tonight to talk about this wonderful book right here. And if you need a copy for yourself, we're going to have it in the, yes, thank you, Candace, right up there. You can scan that QR code. Scan that QR code. And yes, and you can get a copy for yourself. You also will have it in the links later on. I think Nick already put it in the comment links, but we will make sure that we do that. And I'm going to just randomly start with some questions, and I'll just kind of go around the room. And then we'll go from there. But audience, get ready, get buckled up here. So Candace, we'll start with you. What is one moment from your life that has shaped the legacy you want to leave behind?
Well, I would say the moment that I chose to honor myself. And I say that because, in my portion of the book, I wrote about how I don't want to be remembered for the harder times in my life. I want people to see the power behind transformation and what can truly happen when we choose to not only embody who we are, but then honor who we are at the same time. And so the turning point for me was when I decided to get help, and I actually took the steps necessary to make my life different. But it all began because I chose that and honored myself in that way, which was the first time in my lifetime I had ever done anything for me. I had always done everything for everyone else. And sometimes when you're trying to create really big change in your life, you have to have that solid foundation of doing it for yourself.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And I noticed Tim asked the question whether or not she's going to be singing. Look, if that happens, I am down with all of that, So
well, I'm always ready, but this is your show, not mine.
Yes, he is always ready.
Look, if you want to break out in song, please do. I will. You have the mic. I will go.
No, I am not going to do that.
That's funny. Oh my goodness, Jason. So, I want to just button, if you don't mind, for a quick second.
Yeah.
I'm going to show this here. So this is Candace's chapter. This is Candace's family. And you started with that question, and I find it so interesting because I wanted to share the first paragraph that she wrote in her chapter. And the question you happen to ask just as the perfect segue into that, and how it is Candace shows up. It's right here in this book. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. When I think about legacy, what comes to mind is not achievement or needing to be perfect as the core of everything. It's our essence. It's the quiet energy that remains when everything else fades into the background. It's this imprint of a life that tried, fell, and rose again. My deepest hope is that when you think of me, you see the human within the experience, the woman who lived, learned, and loved with all of her heart.
I love that. I love that so
Thank
much.
you.
I've gotten a chance to, well, one, I've heard all of you at different points in time over the last couple of years. I'm a big fan of everybody here. On one of the things I haven't dove into this yet. I'm going to be honest. I, I'm one of those monkeys that I have got to finish one book, and I'm at the end of a book that I have. My wife can read multiple ones. I cannot do that. I have to finish one. I read very quickly, and I devour books, but I got to finish one before I start. But I wanted to have it in my possession, in my grubby little paws, because I really prefer having the physical. I'm still a kid that loves going to the library and just go, oh, like I like the physical books. I like that in my life. But I will say I haven't read this yet. But I've been in the audience when you guys have done different rounds of talking about the different chapters, and I mean it's powerful. It's so powerful. Get a copy of this book if you haven't already, folks. It's already a bestseller. This is like fantastic. Yes, Candace.
I'm just
go
going to
right
keep
ahead.
doing
She's
it.
like, there it is. That's it. That's it. So we have so many great people in the audience. I want to keep up with the questions, and we'll just keep rolling. But I love how this is happening. So Leslie, I'm going to ask this, and I'm just randomly picking questions. I'm not going in any order. But I know, and the reason I'm asking this question for you is because I already kind of know the answer because I've heard you speak before. But what inspired you to say yes to writing in this anthology?
Oh, good question. Well, interestingly, I guess maybe it's interesting to you. Last year was when I was inspired to write in the legacy. And it was time for me to document my life because I realized that I wished my grandmothers were alive now so I could ask them all the questions, but I didn't ask them when I was growing up. And so I wanted to document what I've done throughout my life so that my children, but particularly my grandchildren and my niece and nephew, would know after I'm gone, well, here's what Nana or Auntie Leslie did. And I discovered that 3,500 words wasn't enough, that I needed a part two. So the plan was last year that I would write in this year's. And so my plan was finish it up this year. But oh no, there was a problem because I realized I needed a third part. So the first legacy that I did last year was the first 25 years of my life. This year was the second 25 years speaking to my grandchildren. And then next year, God willing, it will be all about the things I've done on my own the last 20, 25 years. So that'll finish it up. That's why I'm inspired today, because of last year.
That's fantastic.
That's so beautiful. I was
yeah.
just going to chime in and say, Leslie, I bought my grandmother, she was asking us what we wanted for Christmas, and I actually bought a book that has all of these questions. And I was like, when you're bored, maybe each day you can write one of the answers to this book, and that would be enough for me. Because it's all of those questions that as we age, we don't think about to ask our grandparents. And I have a set of grandparents that I didn't get to spend that time with. And so again, I love how you're thinking about this and giving them that opportunity to really see you in such a different way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
One of the other things I did a few years ago, speaking of that book you mentioned, I found little books and I gave each which is all about me, same kind of thing. And I got each one of my 4 grandchildren one. And then we go out to lunch and each one would ask me a question and they would catch up in the book. We haven't done that in a while. So thanks for reminding me.
That's really cool. I love that. I wish I had gotten the opportunity to do that. I only had one set of grandparents that were in my life, and I was a young man. I was a kid when we lost my grandfather on my dad's side, and I was still kind of battling myself when my grandmother passed away. But man, I wish I had spent more time and done something like that. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Everybody in the there have been multiple people that have talked about library. And Stephen, I knew you would dig that, man. Stephen Ing, I knew that because you work at a library, brother. I was in New York City meeting Kristen Christie. She's the lady who was one of the founders of the 988 hotline, and she's just an incredible lady. And I got to spend a couple hours with her. But I went past my favorite park, which is Bryant Park in New York City, not the big giant guy, the little guy, because it's right next to the library. And I love the library so much, and I love Bryant Park, and I just all these great memories of being in the park and reading and all this. Yeah, so I'm with you, Stephen, and everybody else that talked about libraries and bookstores. I'm with you. We have one bookstore. It's a Barnes and Noble that's hanging on for dear life here in our neighborhood. And I wish there were more. I like the old mom and pop places that you could go to. So, anywho. All right. Nick, you have anything before I go on to another question?
So I'm like scrolling through Leslie's chapter because I like being able to share a little bit, but I honestly don't know which part of her chapter I would want to share. She took a very unique direction with her chapter this year, and she wrote it as a play. So
as a play?
As a play.
Wow.
And
how creative.
It's
great.
Pretty much, so this is the picture. We're here with her family and all her grandkids. And she has it as the characters. There's Nana, which would be her, of course, the voice of the author. There's Brooke, the first girl grandchild, Nana's daughter, Michelle's daughter. There's Sydney, Julia, and Blake. And the way she put this in Act 1, and Act 2, and Act 3, and she sets the scene at the beginning of each. So I'll give you just the beginning setting as she starts talking with them. She writes, Nana's modern townhome living room overlooking a small lake and natural habitat in a quaint neighborhood in Cary, North Carolina. A home with a wood plank wraparound deck off the back that overlooks a pond loaded with ducks, geese, and herons. The lake is seen from the master bedroom, the living room, the office, and the second bedroom. Right away, Nana turned it into a living room that could seat 14 for holidays, with a passageway opening from the kitchen for large platters and tureens of memorable dishes. It's fall. The leaves are lilting to the ground between the home and the lake. The fireplace is roaring, and Nana's 4 grandchildren are seated tightly together on the old, rather ragged, 7-foot red couch across from the fireplace. Left to the right, in their birth order, Brooke, Sydney, Julia, and Blake. It is a story in a different form, if you will. And her grandchildren are each asking her questions. And it reminds me so much of sitting up late at night at my grandmother's feet when she would be talking with her friends about her children and their children, which would be my mom, my aunts and uncles, and tell the stories of the day the neighbor dug the cesspool and it had rained, and my mother did something naughty, and her father was chasing her across the front lawn and landed in the cesspool. So these are the stories that as a child, I wanted to know about my mom and my dad. And that's what she did in this book. She's telling her grandchildren about their parents through her eyes. It is
I love that.
And the stories, like my grandchildren want to hear the stories over and over again about when my son was 2 and this thing happened, right? They tell us again about the story about this, and they just love it every time, and then they ask me how I met granddaddy. So I got to tell all about that. So my children will also appreciate this because they've never actually heard exactly how we met and everything. So I was really confused until I had a conversation with Nick the day before it was due. 'Cause I didn't know I couldn't wrap my arms around it. But this is the power of masterminding accountability because, the conversation just went off in its own direction. And I remembered that when I was 17, I wrote a play. I copied the style of Samuel Beckett as I was reading Waiting for Godot and wrote my own play, Theater of the Absurd, which was one of my assignments for university. Then I remembered that I did that, and that was the spark that had me realize what style I would write this in. So thank you for letting me share.
I love that. I love that you shared that part too. And then I got stuck and I had to stop for a second because my youngest daughter was born in Cary, North Carolina. And so I've lived in 17 states and 42 cities in my lifetime.
Crazy.
I've been all over the United States except for the West Coast. And my daughter Keely was born in Cary, North Carolina. It's it changed us a lot. And because Kinga said this, and I do everything that Kinga tells me to, I love you, lady. I'm going to call out some people. So Jody, Stephen Ean, Jackie Halberg, Jeremy Burdick, Adamir. Man, you have got a long name, my friend, and I'm just going to say Adamir. Thank you. Linda, Andrew, Joe, Claudio, Peter, Christy, Sharon, Tim, Martin.
Queen Feedy is here. Queen Christine Feedy.
Yeah. Katia, Christine, Sharon. Did I say that twice? All right. I think we got everybody that I can see. Lee, Sharon Byrne. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of people here, and I'm sure there's some people on other channels too that are not Jackie Halberg. Yes.
Yeah.
And appreciate her so much. Jackie is one of those people that, and Kinga does this as well, so I have to shout her out. But they send me private messages and DMs and stuff, and it's encouragement. It's taking care of me. It's making sure that I'm aware of things. I'm in good place. So I really, 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 really dig and appreciate that so much. Jim Perona, buddy, great to see you. You should be I should bring you up here. You play a tune, and we'll all sing. We'll all sing.
I love it.
Oh my goodness, so crazy good, crazy good. Okay, nice. Are we going to William Rochelle? Look in the house. Look out! Thank you so much for being here, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, LinkedIn is being kind of goofy, so we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. If you need to jump to another channel, I certainly understand and appreciate you trying to be here. If you've got to switch out, I get it. LinkedIn is not real great too if you're on your phone for others that are doing a live stream to try to catch that and catch your comments. But thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, and we're going to go back to Candace. What chapter from your life do you hope inspires most readers?
I would say the chapter in my life would be probably this last year. I really have stepped into this divine remembrance of who I am and have really held nothing back. I feel for the first time, I can say that I love myself, that I value my purpose and my gift to the world. And in being able to do that, I've met really incredible people. I've built really beautiful partnerships. I've worked with so many clients who have really big aspirations and dreams to do great work in the world too. And so I just feel like in this chapter of, again, really divine surrender, because everything I've done, I haven't had an exact plan for, but it all has worked out the way it's supposed to. And yet it was just because I knew, right? Like I really trusted in what I was here to be doing. And I say that because, and I want to share, I think I shared this on your live, but the language that somebody gave me that is really empowering for somebody who struggles with the past version of themselves is that the past version of you deserves to be loved and honored just the same as the current changed version, because the past version of you went through all the hardship, all the struggle, all the pain so that you don't have to. And for the longest time, I had held so much shame, so much guilt, so much regret. And that's all I could look at myself as, even my past version, right? And just hearing that, and I only heard that a couple months ago. Okay. So hearing that, even in this healed state, it was this permission to move forward finally and say, wow, I have learned that lesson. It's good to move forward. And so anybody that struggles with that, just may that be your reminder that everything you had to go through, while it might not be easy to move through, it's done, right? Like this version of you gets to honor that version of you, because together you create change.
I remember that really stuck with me. Like I was on your show telling some of my story. You're on my podcast telling your story, which is like blew up. Like I can't even believe that we're getting ready to get to 13,000 views of that. I'm just like, what? And it's incredible to me how powerful that statement is. I spent 30 years, almost 30 years in a wheel of shame. So to that's a great mindset perspective, because it's always been, I don't feel pitiful about my past, but my past was something until March of this year I really wasn't telling people about. I still was wearing part of the mask and being like, yeah, it's too uncomfortable. I'm afraid what people will do. And it did happen. I mean, I had family members block me on social media. I had people that were friends that were like, nah, I'm out. And you know what? It's okay, because the people that should show up and that you need to show up in your life are going to show up.
Yeah.
And the universe just has a great way of bringing the right people to you. And so,
Yeah.
anyway, I love that statement. I love it. Big shout out. I think we called out William, but I want to call out Claire. Tom Colin, thank you, brother. Linda, if we didn't talk about you being here, thank you so much. A lot of great people in the house, and I appreciate you very much being here. I know you're here for these ladies, not for this monkey, but I appreciate you.
Don't say that. There's a cool name out there too, the superhero. I don't know whose name that is, but
I don't know.
hello, the superhero. I think that's
it's not
pretty
on
neat.
mine. I don't even see that. But hey, superhero, I love that you just call yourself superhero. That's
right.
perfect.
And you were that, Jason, in March. I was present, privy, and privileged to hear Jason when he spoke for the first time in March about his entire older version of Jason.
Right.
And that's certainly why Jason is the version he is today, and why he is the person he is, and how he can bring people on here like us and give us a moment to honor our past and the moments that we are still building our legacy on, because our legacy is not built completely until the last breath. And so therefore I want to thank you, because this means so much to me, and of course to the writers, to be able to be up here and say what legacy means to them. It takes on a slightly different meaning for each of us. And I do want to say, Jason, you mentioned something about when you put your story out there. People often ask me, how do you put yourself out there? How do you start talking about yourself? No, it isn't easy, but it will be the most cathartic and empowering experience you would give yourself. And yes, I have had authors say to me that, so and so read the book and they weren't happy that I shared so and so, and they haven't spoken to me since. Or I thought they would all be excited when I said I was writing in a book, and they said, "Well, you're not a writer. What are you doing?" So you got to do it for you. You got to do it for the old version and honoring your old version and stepping into your new vision, like Candace says. There are so very many deeper reasons for writing your legacy than just leaving your love and lessons behind. This is very much a present legacy that you create when you put that pen to paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. I mean, thanks. We're here to talk about you guys, but I appreciate that very much. And anyway, I appreciate all three of you, and I appreciate the people in the audience. Superhero is in the house, and so William says, Aaron, the recruiter. Aaron, I love my recruiter family. I have an HR company, as I mentioned in the very beginning, so always love to see people like yourself supporting others. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here. Okay, Leslie, question for you. Actually, I'm going to skip around. And I love this one, and I think this is really apropos. If your story could teach the next generation one lesson, what would it be?
Don't wait. Right? Don't wait until your grandparents are gone. We know that you love them. I loved my grandparents, but we were busy with our lives and we were growing up and we didn't have the insight, right? Or the wisdom to know that we would want to know these things. So don't wait to write your legacy. You can start with a chapter like that. Most people have done the equivalent in high school, right? And now this is different because it's your story, but just don't wait until your grandparents are gone to wonder about those things. That would be the one thing that I would say. There's not going to be any regrets for me or my children or grandchildren. Let's put it that way. No regrets.
Perfect. No, it's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Nick, you have anything, or you want me to go on with questions? I got a bunch. I have a ton of questions.
Yes, go right on ahead.
All right, we're back to Candace now. In a few words, how has writing your legacy changed you?
So in the process of writing this, I've been in a busy season since I think January, but the process of slowing down was the gift it gave to me, and the reminder of the presence I need to build in 2026. I'm not saying that I'm waiting until 2026, but the power of that presence, because I quite literally finished. I was like, the teenager inside of me came out, and I'm like finishing at the deadline, to get things done. I was like, but that was my awakening reminder that I need to create that time and space, because just like Leslie said, being at home for the holiday, that was my first time to get to spend time with my family for the holiday specifically in like 12 years. I've seen them.
Wow.
I've seen them since then, but never for the holiday, because we've lived in different places and we had never made it all align. And so in writing this, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to value time differently. So that was what the gift of this book was, on top of everything else. So thank you, Nick, for asking me if I would want to do this.
Thank you for saying yes to yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk, on social media about the pause, about taking moments, and not just from a self-care aspect, but really from an ability to move forward in a positive way with the right kind of mindset to conquer what you have going forward. Not like it's an uphill battle, but being able to be fully present and aware and able to make those leaps, having pauses along the way are cathartic in so many different ways. So I appreciate that, and I have notoriously I worked in the culinary world. I've worked in the service industry for 46 years, and it's in the height of being in the culinary world before I moved to different positions within that frame. I remember just grinding and grinding and grinding, and it was just pouring. It was like pouring gasoline on everything that I already was struggling with as an addict. It's just like you're just not going to get out of this cycle until you learn how to take some time. So I appreciate it so much. Appreciate it so much. Okay, Leslie, next question. Da-da-da-da. What is one value you hope people remember you for?
Ooh. You know, you're giving me questions with one-word answers.
I know that you.
I mean, there's not a lot to say.
Oh,
Let's
that's
see.
hilarious.
Oh,
my
I
gosh.
think what is one word?
What
One
is
value.
the one group of 3 words you want?
Oh, no, I'll tell you what it is, and then a long story about why.
There you go.
No, I won't
That's
do that. No.
good.
Well, I would say that I really aspire to be my word.
Hmm.
So to do what I say I'll do, and not to overextend myself and say that I'll do things that I may not really want to do, or, you know, for whatever reason I decide I would do it, but it really doesn't align with my values. So I aspire to be my word. And then if something comes up and there is an interruption, that I'm in communication and let the person know. So I think that would be it, is just keeping my word and treating my word, right? You know, it's my value.
Mhm.
So my word is my value, and that's why I'm kind of particular about where I spend my time.
yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
And I
My word.
love. I want to say it was Stanley Green that you had the
Yes.
conversation with recently, where you were talking about you guys had a little kerfuffle, kind of
On
in.
Monday.
Yeah.
It was a live kind of a resolution of jumping to conclusions in preparation for getting together with families, where there's already this way of expecting people to behave the way they did when they were 10, right? And so you kind of walk into this hotbed of sibling rivalry, and it really has to do with the pause, as you were talking about, and it has to do with setting the context for being an observer, which allows other people to disappoint you and show up in a better way. But if we don't do that, then we're going to get right into it. And it happens fast at holidays. So that's
Right.
what we did. And we took it all the way to the end. In other words, we actually distinguished the steps, right, to listening to one another, understanding where we had jumped to conclusions, and then completing the conversation rather than leaving it out there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, because
It was.
we were worried. We were worried about the holidays and what happens. I'm remembering my holidays, when I didn't do this, and there's and all that business going on, and I don't want that anymore.
It's kind of funny because I will. This is very telling of me, but I'm one that I'll say yes to a lot of live stuff, and then I'll go to what I can. Like, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to be on there because I want to support. But then if it comes to the moment and I can't. But I'd rather have it on my calendar and then try to do this stuff. So I didn't know what I was walking into, and I'm watching the two of you as you're dissecting this, and I'm going, wait a minute, what's happening here? And then I realized as I'm listening more and more that I thought, how brilliant that they're opening up the conversation in such a way that they're allowing all of us in the audience to see what EQ is all about, what conflict resolution really means, and how in this time period where we're going to be around people we don't see that often, but we love, but we still have these things with, it can be complicated. So I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I didn't know at first what I was into, but then as I was like, oh my goodness, are we having a fight or like what? But it was so brilliant. It was brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, audience, if you have any questions, I'm getting to the end of my questions, and we really literally we've got about 15 minutes left. But if you have questions, put them in the chat. I'll be happy to ask them as long as they're PC. And because this does go on YouTube, we have a monetized YouTube channel. I don't want them kicking me off of there because it's for our nonprofit. So please be nice. But I'm going to go on with this. So we're back to Candace. Oh, I like this. This is a good one. Nick, you did a really good job here. What part of your story did you once hesitate to share, but now feel empowered to tell? This is perfect. I don't know how this is working, but I think this is because Leslie showed up in the beginning and was like, let me see what the universe is saying.
Bobbing me back in.
It's all right. You're all good.
It keeps bobbing me back in. We're too high energy, so we just keep picking me
Right?
out.
It's not a one-word answer for Candace this time. So good.
Okay. I'll reread.
Again.
Yeah, I was like, can I have the question again, please?
I don't know. What part of your story did you once hesitate to share, but now feel empowered to tell?
So I know that here I'm just like you, Chasen, where I've just really been starting to share my journey openly. Like people who are very close to me understand the struggles I've been through, but not everyone. And so being able to honor, the journey through my adolescence and going through addiction and then having severe mental health issues where I nearly took my life, and being able to honor it in a way that shows transformation through change instead of, again, I was always so nervous because I didn't want to discredit all the work that I'm doing now. And I was really afraid of that. I was like, oh man, if people know like the struggles that I've had, they might not ever want to work with me. Like, what if they, what are the things? And I had to get over that because one of the things that I've learned and one of my mantras anytime I get nervous is that the message is worth way more and more valuable than any insecurity I have. And so in me opening up in this past year to really talk about it, I know that creates an opening of vulnerability for someone else to do the same, or to even acknowledge who they are and give themselves grace, because I think that that's one of the most important things when you're going through any form of healing, that you have to learn how to give yourself grace for the capacity that you once held that you might hold differently today. So
look, you're braver than me because I mean, I've heard your story. We talked about this earlier on that we've each been on each other's podcasts, but I mean, it was all I could do not to be tearing up hearing your story. And, I'm a big baby, so I'll cry at the drop of that. Let's be honest, folks. My wife is laughing upstairs as she's listening to this going, you're a big baby. You just cry at all kinds of stuff. But I look burly, and I'm wearing a bearded man coffee shirt, but yeah, I absolutely will cry at the drop of a hat. But I love that you said that because, quite frankly, I'm still not comfortable with that, and I think it's because it took me so long to be okay with the person staring back at me, even going through the steps. even going through the 12-step journey as a drug addict, it's not comfortable. You're still doing some of that work, but you may not be doing all of it because it's constant. It's a constant thing. So I appreciate you saying that, and I hear that from other people. Oh, it's going to be powerful. You get your story out there, you tell more people, and I'm like, yeah, it is. I
And
get
it's
that.
hard.
It's really hard. It's
Yeah,
really hard.
like even hearing, I've had two podcasts, yours that's at 13,000 almost, and another one that's at almost 59,000. And I'm like, that's so many people hearing my story. Like, that's so uncomfortable. It's so
Oh,
uncomfortable, but you do the things that you will help the next person. And so if I can do that and honor the next person, then I'll do it.
It
wow.
gets easier, I think. The more you write about it, the more you talk about it. Um, it's almost like riding a bicycle. It does get easier, I think, with time. Because I felt the same way when I wrote 2 years ago for the first time. I thought, oh my goodness, I do not want to put my story out there like this, but I did. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty in the Legacy series as well. It's not about writing perfect, it's about writing real. Your future generations are not going to want to know only about your wins and your success because they likely would be struggling just as we are now with something later down the line. And they need to know that you too passed through it, survived it, and were strong enough to write it and leave it for them. So
Yep.
I love what you shared, Candice. And you know what? I just want to say too, there was a gentleman that shared today was 12 years since his mom passed away in the comments. And I want to know that I saw it. Um, and that a big part of why Legacy came about is because I did what Leslie said not to do. Don't wait, but I waited. And I was just on a live show that Jason was looking at with Amber Norton, and I shared in the comments that my mom passed away 8 years ago. But I left Trinidad when I was 19. I did not return for, I think, almost 15 years. And Christmas was always her favorite time of year. I spent one Christmas in 20 years with her, and that was at my sister's home in Canada. It was not even spent at her home in Trinidad with her. And one of her favorite things to do when she came here to shop was buy all her Christmas blow ups and all her ornaments and decorations. And she lit up her house like nobody's business. And people, I mean, it's a third world country. It's, things are a little difficult. People would come by the carloads with their children to see it. And I never saw it in my real life. So, with what Leslie shared, it is true.
Yeah.
Don't wait. And Candice said it as well. For the first time in 12 years, she too is taking that moment and that presence. And if I had had the opportunity to write in a book, then might I have in fact paused?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And I want to share something because I think that this might help those that maybe struggle in this time of year, whether that's through loss or even with family members, right? Like this time of year is really can be tumultuous for many reasons. But maybe this inspires a little nudge of curiosity for treating the holiday differently, for maybe having that conversation that's been hard and doing so at your own pace, of course, but allowing yourself the space to expand into even just that comfortability of forgiveness in your own heart. I'm not saying we need to go and like condone behaviors and do any of that, but how can we, really honor our families differently in this season, whatever that looks like for us?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. I want to thank those that have scanned the QR code. Make sure you do that. Get a copy of the book. It's absolutely fantastic. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 authors in here. and yours truly right down below. Look at this. So make sure you scan that copy. Scan the QR code. Get Kenny, good to see you. Enrique, good to see you. Thank you so much. I know we had a couple of people from Calm. Thank you, Michael, and there are a couple of others from YouTube that have joined in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Scan the QR code. Rob, thank you. Thank you for being here too. Get your copy of the book. These ladies have done such a good job. We've got a lot of great authors that are in there. And I'm before we leave, just one final round. I'll let all of them, and we'll start with Candace, and we'll go Leslie, and then Nick, and then we'll end the show. But one final parting thing for anybody, and then thank you for being here, Candace.
Oh, you want me to say just anything? Okay. Well,
just anything. Thank you.
Thanks. No, I think that for anybody who, in this life, we all want to leave a legacy. And you get to really choose what that is. And being able to honor all parts of the legacy, like Nick was saying. And I think that we're coming out of the need to share only the great moments in our life and really be able to share the truth more often. I think that I know I grew up in the because I told you so era, and don't ask, don't, no questions. And so, the big things I guess I want to share is that you don't have to, air out everything or be super vulnerable, but what's one thing you can share with your family that you may have never shared before? And what's that conversation that you can open up that might allow them the space to do the same?
I love that. Leslie, parting thoughts.
Yeah, I wanted to ring in a little bit on vulnerability to tell you that my experience when I basically broke through years ago and told on myself kind of was a little self-deprecating. I had more sales from that speech, that presentation. More people come up to me and say, "How did you know my story?" It's the vulnerability, but it takes time. That first time that you tell on yourself, or you kind of like, I was more overweight, and I said, well, here I am in personal development, but look at me, right? Which goes to show that we're all human and none of us are perfect, but you would think someone in personal development would be able to manage that, right? And so when you get vulnerable, they're thinking, I think to themselves, wow, I thought my life was bad. She really had it bad, right? And she came out of it, so I certainly can come out of it. So I think that that's the key to engaging with an audience. And just take it, as Candace said, take your time, one step at a time. You don't have to do everything at once. Try it. Try it with friends. And the more you do it, the more free you'll be. The other thing about this is this. Being vulnerable is in complete service to your audience because you have to let go of your ego. Let go of what are people going to think of me? What if I screw it up? What if, which holds us back. But you can't be a heart-centered servant and be afraid and in your ego at the same time. So the better you get at it, the more vulnerable you are, the more you're going to relate with other people. But you can't be both. So you will let go of your ego, and you can do that intentionally before you speak so that you're really serving other people. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. As Candace does the mic drop moment, like she's just like,
oh. It's true, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Well, and I used to clear people. So you can do this for other speakers that are going on stage. Okay, I'll hurry up. And to tell you that you can do this for other people because we get in our head. So all you have to do is put your hands on their shoulders, have them close their eyes, and say to them, remember the greatness within you. What is your message? The message is that other people will find answers and have light bulb moments in what you're sharing. And that takes you into your leadership and your heart centeredness, your service, and away from the fears that are very natural. Thank you for letting me share that.
No, I love that. My coach at the time in March, when I was talking and saying how, it's an introverted, socially awkward, it's going to be around about 80 people and for the first time talk about some complicated stuff. He goes, I know that you're a big fan of the power of three, and three shows up a lot in your life, in your faith and everything. He goes, I want you to, as you're breathing, I want you to look out in the audience and I want you to say 3 times, I am here to serve. And at the end of the third time that you say it, I want you to just start talking. I'm Leslie. I'm going to tell you, by the time I got to the third, I'm doing breathing. I'm looking out into the audience and I'm saying, I am here to serve. The third time, from that moment to the 15 minutes afterwards, I don't know what came out of my mouth. And I didn't know until I'm driving home the next day and my wife has a recording from her phone. And I had to pull over to the side of the road because I'm sobbing and I'm listening to myself talk and just tell a story.
Well, see, you already knew. And I think that inherently we know these things, but somehow they have to be distinguished for you by someone else. And then it all of a sudden, but that was intentional. And that's mindset work. What you did is you put yourself in a high vibration in service. And you can't be in low vibration and high vibration at the same time. So by the third time, your higher side took over and said, okay, shut up, all you fears, right? I'm going this way. And then the rest you just downloaded. Basically, if you don't remember what you said, that's right. You were downloading your heart. It's spirit wanting to express from within to without. It's always trying to get that out into the world. And so when you did that somebody said, I think it was Jay that said that this really helps other people. And I think it's because we think our stuff is worse than anybody else's, but when other people start sharing about their stuff, we're thinking, it's not so bad, really.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Thank you.
Nick, any last parting thoughts before we end the show?
Just a big thank you for having us on. These women are powerhouses. Please go follow them. Candace has a show. Leslie has a show. And backstage, Leslie invited Candace to be a guest on her show. So bringing this right back around to the power of writing your story is that when you open yourself up to a new experience, you think that you're walking away with just one. And it is not one that you're walking away with. You're walking away with so much more. These are now 10 of us who have written and have formed connections. And the collaborations go far beyond the turn of the last page. And it starts the way it started tonight. We identify and resonate with one another through storytelling. I'm going to be doing a beginner's writing workshop in January. I've never held one before. And my thought process was very simple. 75% of the writers that write with me are first-time writers. And people always ask me the same question. So this is something that I want to bring to them. If someone you loved dearly desperately needed your help, but they were deaf, and the only way you could share with them how you would help them would be to write it down so they could read it. Now write it. When you are not writing for yourself to start, you will find the power to write for someone else. But as you write, that comfortability will grow. Then you will write about your connection with them. Eventually, you will be able to move that aside and write about yourself. So writing is a journey and one that can be learned. Guiding brilliant writers is not the writing that's brilliant, it's your stories. The writing can be guided. And I'll end there.
Wow. Love having all of you on the show. Great to see everybody in the audience. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you get a copy of the book. And here it is again. Yes, scan that QR code. The Candace, well done, well done, ladies. And get a copy of the book for yourself. We're super excited to have everybody here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you next time. Happy holidays to everyone. Be safe out there. Be kind out there. Spread joy, my friends. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.
Thank